Come in, come closer. Listen with your ears, for I'm going to tell you a story that I've known for 42 years. It is a story about my dad and your grandfather, Darrell Wilson. Darrell grew up in a small rural town in Northern California. His home life was normal and average, with healthy parents and a good, solid home life. In 1965, Darrell first learned about Vietnam when the United States was starting to send over Marines. He had grown up with expectations of going into the military. For him, college was never a thought. The era that Darrell grew up in had the same idea, which was to fight communism. He thought war was something to aspire to. Darrell joined the Marines to go to war with the toughest and strongest. His first job in the Marines was infantry, but him and his team called it the Grunts. His second job was in radio communication repair, but mostly he worked in the Grunts. During Darrell's wartime experience, he remembered that war wasn't all heroics, since they say war is hell. Prior to him serving in Vietnam, Darrell heard about a Marine being killed in action, and he didn't relate to the death to a person, but just a Marine. His most memorable incident was after his first operation, realizing that getting shot was real. But mostly him seeing up close and personal the bodies of 15 to 17 Marines dead. At the point he knew that they weren't just Marines, but they were people who didn't feel pain nor fear anymore. There was never one best moment that Darrell had, but there were many small ones that he shared with his squad that brought them closer like brothers. Darrell was the 20-year-old corporal squad leader. Him and his team were like family, willing to die for one another. There was never a long day. Rather, there was 6 long months living in a foxhole. They were hit with rockets, mortars, and also hit multiple times with gunfire each and every day. After 10 months, Darrell's unit, the 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, were pulled out of the field and sent to join other units. On Darrell's journey back to the world, he found himself being treated as if he was a baby killer and was spat at. Being involved was a tough lesson for him, but coming home was extremely heartbreaking. He withdrew from society and eventually went to college. He became a veterinarian doctor, which was something he thought about prior to his military service. Darrell's wartime experience had a lasting impact on him. With all the trauma, death, and destruction, there was no way he could become normal again. His point of views and attitude towards everything completely turned his life around. He has a poor point of view towards the government and leaders who sent him and everyone else into war. Darrell has PTSD. PTSD is short for post-traumatic stress disorder that veterans can receive during their time in combat. War has affected Darrell by having him be blind in his right eye, deaf in his right ear, have a heart disease, and diabetes. He wonders what life would be like if he didn't have the war that gave him what he has now. Nevertheless, Darrell learned a lot from his wartime experience that was both good and bad. He had missed out on a lot as well, since he was only 19 years old when he went into the war. Darrell now works in Hollister, California at an animal hospital. He has saved millions of lives, and now he is saving millions of animal lives. War is sometimes necessary, according to Darrell, but nobody should ever experience war. Darrell would do it all again. According to Darrell, most people don't understand doing it again, but it made me what I am.